guys, welcome to Son of a Gun Adventures. This week, making fish jugs. I've got about 25 of them that I've made up here. Basically, I've done a bunch of YouTube research, if you want to call it that, and used some ideas from different content creators. And this is what the hybrid project that I came up with. It's weighted so that when you get a fish and they bite it and set the hook to pop it up, and the weight is it holds the jug straight up, so it's an indicator that you actually have a fish on the line. If they do get loose, it's telling you that your bait has been stripped off. So I'll do a step-by-step tutorial about how I made these. They're pretty inexpensive. I'll put the total cost on the screen, and let's get to it. All right, so what do we need for this week's project? I used 3/4 inch PVC pipe. Each piece will be cut into 2-foot lengths. We'll need 1/2 inch rebar. That's going to be cut into 6-inch lengths. A pool noodle cut into a 1-foot length. I found that to be the perfect balance for the lengths and the weights that we're dealing with here. I'm using bank line, barrel swivels, 4/0 hooks, and 50-pound test monofilament. There's other things you could use to customize your jugs to exactly how you want to use them or what your state regulations are, but that's what I used to create my jugs. To cut the PVC to length, there's several different ways that you could do it. You could cut it using a hacksaw or a hand saw. You could use a chop saw or a miter box saw, a band saw. I happen to already own one of these PVC cutters that ratchet down, and this is really convenient. It doesn't create a bunch of mess like saws do, and it leaves a nice clean edge on the end of the pipe once you're done cutting it. So I'm making my tubes or my pipes 24 inches long. Use these cutters, you just ratchet it down around the pipe. And it leaves a nice clean edge like that. Obviously, when you're mass producing, using one of these cutters is slower than using a chop saw. But if you do use a power tool, I would recommend cleaning up this edge with some sandpaper or a file just to create less of a mess. Okay, to crimp the end of the pipe, All you need to do is bring some water to a boil. Put that end of the pipe into the boiling water for about 30 seconds. Have whatever you're going to crimp the pipe with ready to go, because the pipe will start solidifying very quickly. I like to use one of these quick grip clamps, squeeze it real tight, flatten the end like that, and then put it under cool running water. And as you can see right there, nice flattened end there. Now I take my piece of my noodle, which is 1 foot long. I already have a piece of the bank line thread through it, so that's easier to do it now than it is later. I only have a short length of the bank line through the noodle right now, so that it's easier when I do the other end in the boiling water. A very tight fit. That's exactly what you want. Bring it pretty much up to the end of the crimp. Then I put my 6-inch piece of 1/2-inch rebar down into the tube, and that's going to serve as my weight. Back at the water, we're going to do this 30-second dip again and crimp the end just like we did the first time, except this time we have that weight on the inside, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get it in there or keep the weight in there as we submerge it. That weight is inside right now. 30 more seconds in the water, crimp it, and then cool it off under running water. Have to move quickly. You could do this with vice grips or a bench vise or something like that, but this quick grip is just that fast. All right, we have the bank line however much you want, all here on the, tied around the noodle. Got a tail end coming down here. This is going to be the bottom. The bottom here, you're going to want to drill 1 hole. Your bank line will thread through there. That's going to be the end that's going to have the leader tied on with a swivel. And on the top side, I'm going to drill a series of 4 holes. Just like that. Now we'll take the bank line I don't remember exactly how much I had on here, maybe 20 feet, sounds about right, because I wasn't sure what depth I'm going to want this set at, and I'm new to jug fishing, so it's better to have too much and not use as much of it than it is to not have enough. See, the end's pretty frayed there. That's going to be difficult to thread. And now we'll thread it through each of these holes. Tie a stopper knot now at the very end. Basically an overhand knot with several extra turns to it. And that's not going to fit through those holes that I drilled. So even if this cinching doesn't hold, if the fish were to pull that hard, that knot's not going through that hole. So now all that's left is to tie on a swivel at this end, and then we'll make up some leaders that we'll use when we go fishing. You don't need to store it with the leaders on, with that swivel on there. If you have a clasp on it, that way you can take the hooks off, and then you're not dealing with hooks and these rolling around inside your boat. All right, I have this swivel, barrel swivel. This is a size 3, nice and large eye on there, so this bank line will fit through it just nicely. I'm going to tie it on using an overhand on a bite. An overhand knot on a bite. On a bite just means that it's basically doubled over. So an overhand knot, just like you were starting to tie your shoes. Just like that. Given the strength of this bank line, I think that knot's going to be plenty strong. Cut off the tail just to make it more tangle resistant. Never want to cut those tails too short in case it slips, but this being waxed bank line, I don't think it's going anywhere. And then you'll be able to attach your leader to this. All right, now to make your leader, I'm using a 4/0 hook. You can see that the tip of the hook is offset, as is the eye. We use a snell knot to tie a snell knot. You take your running end of the line or your leader through that eye along the shank of the hook. Create a loop on the top of the shank like that, and then wrap your running end around the shank and through that loop at least 5 times. Then pull it tight. So properly done snell knot will hang like that, so that the line isn't interfering with the tip of that hook at all. Cut off your excess, leaving a little bit of a tail. And that's incredibly strong. Now, to attach this leader to my fish jug, I'm going to use a cinch knot, trim my leader so it's not excessively long. And to do that, pass the running end through the eyelet of the barrel swivel, wrap that line around the leader, say at least 7 times, and then back through that loop that's left down at the barrel. Moistening the knot might help it cinch down neat and tight. And just like before, trim the excess. And there you have it. To safely transport your jug and your hook that's attached, you can just stick it in the end of the noodle and it won't go anywhere. Hey guys, thanks for watching my tutorial about how to make these fish jugs for catfishing. if you liked what we did this week and you like our videos, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and go ahead and comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and appreciate any feedback you got. If you've been using any kind of a fish jug, again, give me some comments about how it's worked out for you and modifications that have been beneficial for you. With that, see you next week.